Yo, 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 my Star Citizens and Noob Gamers. Welcome back to another episode of Star Citizen with me, Mennings. And in today's episode, I'm going to be doing a quick one again. More about the new features of the tractor beams and why this has helped us out now with the things like the C1. So, yesterday I put out a video complaining a little bit about how CIG have moved the grid snapping points on the C1. But it seems like they've also allowed us to still exploit that in the getting cargo down the center. And the way they've done this is they've allowed us to have a choice between snapping on grid and not snapping on grid with our tractor beams. So I'm going to show you now what I mean. So, as we found out yesterday, now when we snap in here, it snaps to this red line here, whereas it used to snap to this part here where my feet is now. And so it was pushed up against this wall. Now we're losing that much space on each side. It means we can't get cargo down the center here. But on the other side of that as well, it used to snap it here. But now with it unsnaps, we can actually push it here. So we should be able to get a little bit more cargo into this if we're unsnapping it. So the new features of the tractor beam, so if I press 5 and then 5 again, I don't use this handheld one anymore, I use this big one. And so we have two modes now. We have a left trigger and a right trigger. So normally your left trigger would fire your beam and your right trigger, or right mouse button, would zoom in. And so what it's done this time is now, there is no zoom in, but your left trigger now moves stuff that isn't snapped to grid and doesn't snap it to grid, and your right trigger unsnaps stuff from grid and snaps it to grid. So people might say this is the same as the traverse where you used to press B, but I remember with the traverse I used to have to keep hold of the button to be using it, whereas now I don't have to do that. So I'm just going to grab my boxes here. So I've got these three here, I've got a 16 and I've got 5/8, and I did bring up some 2s, but I don't know if I'll need them. So I'm just going to move all this to the elevator and then bring that up. Now, like I said, with the old version, when you used to press B, you used to have to keep hold of the button. Whereas now you don't have to keep hold of the button. So you've got your left mouse button. So if I pull this out now, the other one. So if I press my left mouse button on here, you'll see nothing. Can't pick it up. Can't do nothing with it. But if I press my right mouse button, I can pick it up and unlock it. Now, once it's locked, you can't pick it up with the left mouse button. But if you take it off the lock here, like now, and then I press my left mouse button, now I can grab it. But you'll see when I come up into the C1 now with this, I won't be able to lock it into grid. So if I'd use the R now and just spin this around a bit, should be able to start pushing it in. So if I start pushing that in now with my left mouse, I've got my left, I'm not holding it, I've just let go of my left mouse button. But if I press it again and let go and then move it now, you'll see it just doesn't snap to grid. So in here, left mouse button doesn't snap to grid. Put it down, use my right mouse button, it gives me the option to snap it to grid. And then there you go, you see what I'm on about here. It snapped it up to this red line here and left a bit of a gap there. Now what we can do now with this new way the tractor beam works is we can unsnap it with the right mouse button, take it away so it doesn't snap back in. Once we get it so it's not snapping, and put it down, and then left mouse button it and bring it in, we can actually now snap it, not snap it, but push it right up. Where's he gone? We can push it right up to the corner here now. Oh, every time I do that it moves me. So if I grab that and then push it straight up to the edge there, and right up to the edge, I can push it right up as far as I can get it there. And you can see there's still a little bit of a gap, but not as much of a gap there. So we've got all this extra space now There is a little bit of a gap there, but not as big as it used to be. I can check that actually. Yeah, you see there how much different it is. Bigger gap there. Now I can't take it off, so I have to push it in that way. And so the gap is a little bit smaller. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to keep doing this now. And I'm going to show you why this is better for us with the C1s now, because now we can actually just grab more boxes and put them in now. Let's do that. Bring this one over. So they've took away the ability for us to be able to snap to grid and then put one down the center, but brought in a new way that we can exploit it. I'm not into exploits. I'm really not into exploits, but I don't feel like this is exploiting. People put beds on the car roofs and stuff like that. It's not an exploit. We're just taking advantage of not being able to snap to grid. And so we're going to push that in as much as we can now. Now, I don't think I'll get an 8 in there, but I'll definitely get a couple of maybe 2 2s in there. And I'll be able to get probably an 8 in here as well. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to grab another. So we're going to take the C1 from a 64 to over 120-ish, around 120-ish probably. So what I'm going to do now is we've got our setup here. So I'm going to try and get an 8 in here at the end. And then you could put maybe a stack of 2 at the top there and a stack of 2 at the top there, but I think they would just bounce around too much. So I'm going to leave it at that. And you can maybe put another one in there. Another one in here, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to pick up this big one here. And what we have to do is we have to avoid this door, because this door, when this door closes, it will shake everything up. So we've got to grab this one now. Oh, too much. And let's start bringing this in. And we've got to make sure we avoid the door. So what we've got to do is make sure that when we pull it all the way in, we pull it all the way up to the steps. Oh. All the way up the steps here. That's a bit all the way up the steps, all the way up to the door here. And then that'll sit in there. And then we've got enough room then. We might even have enough room to go down the side there. But I won't chance it. And so what we do is here now, put that away. Make sure we've got this in the CM mode. And we've got to get that all the way in so that it doesn't touch this door here. So when I close the doors, I don't think I can do it there, but when I close the doors, that won't get hit then. So let's see if we can get that 8 in as well. I'm going to try and do is get that 8 in so that it doesn't hit the door as well. It can't be touching the door, you see, on the inside. Oh. Yeah, definitely. Definitely do that. There we are. There we are. So now if I close the doors, we should be able to close them. And we won't, as long as we're not getting any sparks, we're all good. Now, I know you guys are going to be saying this is not the conventional way, this is not how it was designed, but this is how it's allowed us to do it by not snapping on grid. We can now jam-pack the C1. I don't want to get rid of my C1, I really like it, and if I can find out better ways of doing it, then this is good. And it doesn't take that too long to do. So let's do this. Let's make sure that them doors close. So the inside ones have closed, and that one's closed. We could probably get more down the side of that, but that's that, I think. So altogether, we've got in that now, we've got a 24, 24, and a 24, and an 8 and an 8. So we've got and another 8. So we've got 32, 32, 32. So there's a 96. Then we've got a 16, 18, 20. So 96 plus 20, 100 and 112, 116. So we've got 116 in the ship now, cargo. So yeah, 116. So guys, we got 116 cargo in there now, in the form of 3 lots of 24, 3 lots of 8, a 16 and 2 2s. 116 cargo in 9 boxes. 9 boxes we got that in. So the new tractor beam has allowed us to exploit this even more. So a lot of people said it's good that the C1 moved its snapping because that's what the ship was designed for. It was designed for a 64 and it shouldn't be exploited like that. Well, what they've done is they've introduced that and then introduced a new way of not snapping grid and allowed us to put more in there. So yeah, I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments, and this is a quick one for me. We'll see you guys out in the verse. I really like this.